Welcome to This Week in Orthodoxy, the world's only online video newscast focused on events in the life of the Orthodox Church. I'm Emmy Louveris. Our focus this week, crisis in the Middle East. From the Gaza Strip, Muslims take refuge in Greek Orthodox Church. Close to 1,000 Palestinian Muslims fleeing devastating Israeli shells that destroyed their Gaza neighborhood found shelter somewhere they never would have ever entered before, the city's 12th century St. Porphyrios Greek Orthodox Church. Despite its thick walls, the church's safe haven was shaken shortly after their arrival when Israeli aircraft bombed a nearby field, spraying shrapnel on the church and damaging graves. As the sounds of small children echoed outside his office at the church, Archbishop Alexios told Reuters, "We have opened the church in order to help people. This is the duty of the church, and we are doing all we can to help them." The head of the Gaza's Greek Orthodox minority, the largest of the Christian communities in the Gaza Strip, continued by saying that at the beginning there were 600 people and today they became 1,000, mostly children and women, some a week old. Living among the 1.8 million Muslims, only about 1,400 are Christians, made up of Orthodox, Catholics, and Protestants, making them 0.08% of the population in the crowded Gaza Strip dominated by Hamas. In the midst of tragedy, danger, and despite the overcrowded conditions at St. Porphyrios Church, Archbishop Alexios said there is some joy. A woman gave birth to a baby, a new life. Man should be hopeful. There is death, but also there is life too. And from Mosul, Iraq, Christians are told, convert or die. The militant extremist group ISIS, the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, has taken control of more land in and around Mosul, erupting into a humanitarian crisis for the region's Christian communities. Christian homes have been marked with an Arabic N, short for a derogatory term used when referring to a Christian. The symbol can be seen next to the statement, property of ISIS, if the Christians have already abandoned and fled their homes, or simply a warning that unless they convert to Islam or pay a heavy tax, they will be killed without repercussion. According to Christian clergy in the area, every Christian person has fled, seeking shelter in caves, mountains, refugee camps, and sometimes simply stranded on the streets and in the nearby desert. Many forced to flee on foot are without food, water, supplies, or money. Those crossing ISIS checkpoints to get to safety are stripped of all their belongings, including money, gold, jewelry, and leaving only with the clothes on their backs. Since the mass Christian exodus from the city of Mosul, churches have been gutted, crosses and religious art destroyed, and once historical ancient churches converted into mosques. Survivors who fled Mosul tell gruesome stories of beheadings, crucifixions, and rapes being perpetrated. ISIS is an al-Qaeda splinter group so notorious for its brutality and violence that al-Qaeda itself has attempted to distance itself from its former affiliate. At this point, the situation looks grim. Experts predict that Assyrian Christians, Chaldean and Syriac Catholics, and Syriac Orthodox from the region, whose churches date to the very beginning of the Christian era, will lose their ancient patrimony forever and possibly even be ethnically cleansed into near extinction. Patriarch Louis Sacco, head of the Chaldean Catholic Church in Iraq, said, "For the very first time in the history of Iraq, Mosul is now empty of Christians." Protests are being planned around the world. Interfaith organizations are opening doors with relief and support. Visit our website and Facebook page for updates on what you can do to help. And finally, a bit of good news. Miriam Ibrahim is free. The Ethiopian Orthodox Christian woman sentenced to death in Sudan because of her faith arrived in Rome on Thursday, according to the Italian Foreign Ministry. Ibrahim will remain in Italy for a short time, recovering in an undisclosed location, and then will travel on to the United States. Sudanese authorities had said Ibrahim was guilty of rejecting Islam in favor of Christianity. But following weeks of international controversy, her imprisonment and conviction for apostasy and adultery was overturned last month on appeal. Shortly after her release, she and her American husband were further detained at the Sudanese airport for 2 days, accused of falsifying travel documents when attempting to fly to the U.S. with their toddler son and baby daughter, who was born while Ibrahim was in prison. Now their dream of starting a new life in the U.S. appears to be on the verge of becoming a reality. Not only that, but when Abraham and her family arrived in Italy, they got to meet with Pope Francis at his private residence in Vatican City. The Pope thanked Abraham for her family and for their courageous witness on constancy of faith. And in news from OCN, would you like to support OCN's ministry? One way you can help is to do your normal shopping on Amazon.com through our affiliate program. There's no cost to you. Amazon donates a portion of its profits to us. To get started, visit our website at myocn.net and click on the Buy button. You'll find easy instructions and links right there. And that's it for another edition of This Week in Orthodoxy, a program made possible by a generous gift from the National Philoptochos Society in memory of the late Dr. George Mekris. For everyone here at the OCN studios, I'm Emily Veras. Let's go forth in peace.